my fiber friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Monica. I go by Mika Knits here on YouTube and over on my Instagram, and I'm back with another podcast episode today. So this is channel Worsted Witch Podcast. Mika Knits is a channel where I get to share with you all of my fiber goodness, everything that I'm knitting, mainly knitting. I do some crochet as well, and some other needle art, but mainly on this channel I do talk about knitting projects. So I don't have a very long podcast for you today, so hopefully it won't be too long, but let's go ahead and just get into it. I have three works in progress that I want to share with you today, and I have one new acquisition and a few planned projects that I want to share with you. So let's go ahead and jump right into it today. Alright, so the first works in progress that I have to share with you is something that I shared with you on my last video, and that is my Aurora cabin shawl. So if you don't know, I am knitting the Aurora cabin shawl. I will insert a picture somewhere so you guys can see it, but the Aurora cabin shawl is a beautiful top-down shawl. It's a pattern by Stephen West, and I'm knitting this shawl. I started in the beginning of January, and I'm knitting this, at the end of December. I started the week after Christmas, and I'm knitting this one for the Hyber Knit Along. So every year, this is the third year that he's done it, but every year Stephen West of West Knits Designs puts together a little Hyber Knit Along, as he likes to call it, where it's in the colder winter months, January, February, around there, a little bit of December, where you can just kind of hibernate on your own and knit at your own pace with something really, really beautiful and simple a little bit. So it's after the big mystery knit along that he does every year. So that's the Hyber Knit Along, as I explained in my last video, and I am knitting the Aurora cabin shawl, which is this year's shawl for the Hyber Knit Along. So like I said, I'll insert a picture so you can see it, but here's my Hyber Knit Along book. I am knitting from this book, and let me show you my progress. So the last time I showed this to you, I had just started it, and I was still on the beginning sections. I can't remember what section I was on, but I was still in the beginning, and now here is where I'm at. I can't stretch it out all the way because I don't want it to fall off the needles, but this is where I'm at right now for my Aurora cabin shawl. It's looking really good. It is getting really kind of big. This is on a 42-inch circular needle, and it's taking up the whole thing right now. Like I said, I can't quite stretch it all out yet. So, but yeah, this is my Aurora cabin shawl. This yarn is actually Mominoki fine yarn. It is the fingering weight fine yarn from Mominoki, and there's 5 different colors for this shawl. I think I mentioned the colors that I was using in my last video, so feel free to go ahead and check that out. It's just a real quick 15-minute introduction video to the Aurora cabin shawl, but I did mention the colors in that video, and I will go ahead and put the names of the colors in the description box down below, just because right now off the top of my head I can't really remember exactly what the names of the colors are, but I think they're working out well together. They are kind of different. I don't know, I was in my head, I was thinking that they would look a little bit different than they're looking in the knitted up shawl, but I don't hate it. I do love it still. I think it is looking really cool. See if I can stretch this out as far as I can stretch it out. I think that's about all we're gonna get to. But like I said, this is just a top-down shawl. The slip stitch design here on this shawl, this part right here, you do 3 sections of that slip stitch one, and right now I'm on the second section of that. And I thought it was going to be a little bit more intermediate level knitting for that slip stitch design, but it's actually quite easy. So, you know, don't worry about this looking like a shawl that you can't knit if you're a beginner knitter. I think that it's quite simple, it's quite easy. I feel like anybody can do it. So just go at your own pace if you're new to slip stitches. new to following a pattern, a written pattern, just go at your own pace, go as slow as you need to. That's the cool thing about the hybrid knit along, is that it's as slow as you want to go. So there's no rush. You can finish it whenever you finish it. So, but it's definitely not, it looks more advanced than it actually is. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So don't be scared of it. I was a little bit scared of it to start with, but it was really easy, and I think it's turning out really, really nice. So yeah, so this is my, I keep dropping it. This is my Aurora cabin shawl. This is where I'm at so far. I really, really like it. It's nice that the slip stitch design here is broken up by some easier sections. So for instance, you started with this sort of column section here. You did a slip stitch pattern repeat, and then you broke it up here. I broke it up here with some garter riches as well. So, and then now I'm back on to another slip stitch pattern repeat. So that's kind of nice that he broke that up a little bit. But I do really like this slip stitch pattern, and I can't wait to see more things with it. He did say, Steven, the designer, did say that he was going to have more designs of his that incorporate this beautiful slip stitch pattern. So I think I really like that. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what he comes up with. I think he even said he might have a garment, like a sweater that he makes with the yoke being this slip stitch design, and I think that'll be really beautiful and fun. So can't wait to see that. But this is where I'm at right now with the Aurora cabin shawl. I do need to take a picture, try to stretch this out on the needles as far as I can and try to get a good picture for Instagram, because I've been seeing some really beautiful variations of the Aurora cabin shawl over on Instagram. If you haven't checked out Instagram for the knitting community on Instagram, I highly recommend it. You can get some really good knitting inspiration over on Instagram. There's some people that are amazing with colors, so they put together some really incredible color palettes, and I just really enjoy it. So if you haven't checked out Instagram for knitting content, I highly recommend doing so. It's really a lot of fun. So anyway, but that's where I'm at. This is my first works in progress, Aurora cabin shawl. One of the things that I did quickly want to mention with this shawl is that as I was looking at it the other day, as I was like kind of knitting on it, and then I was looking at the pattern at the same time, I realized that, let me just kind of open it up and show you. I realized that there are a lot of stitches on the needles once I get down to the chevron border. So the shawl starts at the top in the middle, and it's top down and just kind of goes off from there. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then once you're done with the pattern repeats, you have the option of doing the chevron border or not doing the chevron border. I'm planning on doing the chevron border on my Aurora cabin shawl just because I like the way that looks. You do this beautiful chevron border, and then you bind it off in an I-cord bind off, and I really like how that looks. Again, I'll pop up a picture so you guys can see it, but I really like the look of that. So I do want to do the chevron border, but I did realize as I'm looking over the pattern, just kind of skimming it over, just looking at the rest of the pattern from what I haven't knit yet. When you do the chevron border and you do the I-cord bind off, there seems to be a whole lot of stitches on your needles. Let me see if I can get a number for you, but you end the chevron border with 1,085 stitches. So that's a lot of stitches. 1,085 stitches is a lot of stitches to bind off. And what I'm worried about, I'm not worried about doing the work. I'm not worried about how long it'll take me. What I'm worried about is the amount of yarn that I have. So let me show you this. This yarn, again, is Mominoki yarn. I got it in a kit from StevenandPenelope.com. And like I said, it came with 5 colors, which according to the pattern is all you need. You need 1 skein of 5 colors. But I'll show you what the yarn is looking like right now. This is the color that I was planning to do, that I am planning to do for my I-cord bind off. And these 2 colors here are, I don't know if you can see that, but this color here and this color here are the 2 colors that I was doing for my that I'm going to do for my chevron border. But it's looking like, especially this color here and this color here, it's looking like I don't have a lot of yarn left on those skeins. It's looking a little bit bare already, and I'm getting a little bit worried as far as yardage goes, if I'm gonna have enough yards and yarn rather to do the chevron border, if that makes any sense. So I'm getting a little bit worried about that. I haven't weighed these skeins as where they are right now. I do have the information for how many grams of weight are in the each yard. So I do have that information, and I feel like I should weigh each skein. As it stands right now, I should just weigh each skein and see where I'm at with it, and just kind of double check if I'm gonna have enough yarn, because I don't know, I guess I'm a little worried about running out of yarn, which sounds weird that I might run out of yarn because I got this yarn in a kit. So I don't know. And I'm not a super loose knitter either. Like, I'm not super loosey-goosey. I don't knit tight either. So I'm kind of right in the middle. And so I know I'm not using, like, when you knit really loosely, I know that you tend to use more yarn. And then if you knit tight, you tend to use less, technically. But for me, I'm kind of right in the middle of the road, like I said. So I know it's not my knitting. I'm just, I guess I'm just a little worried about running out of yarn and having to reorder it. So that's where I'm at, though. That's where I'm at on my Aurora cabin shawl. So I guess I'll see as I keep progressing with the shawl how things go. Once I get down to the final repeat pattern of the slip stitch design, and you do, like I said, you do 3 repeats of the slip stitch design, and then right after the 3rd repeat is where you can either bind off on an I-cord or you can do the chevron border. And I guess once I get down to the last slip stitch repeat, I'll go ahead and weigh my yarn again and just double check to see how much yardage I actually have, and whether or not I think I can do the chevron border or not. So I'll check back in once it gets down there, but yeah, so just a little worried about that. All right, the next works in progress that I have to share with you is I'm actually going to share with you the 0 progress that I have made on my Slipstravaganza blanket. So if you don't know, this is another Stephen West or West Knits pattern, and this is a blanket, so it's quite large. I started my channel here on YouTube to keep track of my progress with this blanket. I've had my YouTube channel now for about a year, a little over a year, I would say like a year and 4 months. And I started my channel in September, about a year and a half ago, and I started my blanket in June of that same year. So it's been almost 2 years since I've been working on this blanket. But so here's where I'm at. Let me show you. I haven't made any progress from the last time I showed you my blanket, but so far here is my Slipstravaganza blanket. So it's going. As I shared with you last time, I did finish that bubble repeat pattern. The bubble section are these beautiful sort of bubbly kind of design here. I did finish that section, and I'm currently working on the next section, which I believe is called columns. So I'm currently working on that, but like I said, I haven't made much progress from the last time I showed you this blanket. The section that I'm working on right now called columns, they don't look like much. You can't really tell what the design is from that, but I will insert a picture on the screen so you can see the final Slipstravaganza blanket of the large size and what it's going to look like in the end. But for now, this is currently where I'm at on my Slipstravaganza blanket, excuse me. So it's going. I haven't picked it up yet this year. I haven't started working on my blanket yet this year because I've been working on some other things, because I've just been working on my Aurora cabin shawl and something else that I'll show you, but I haven't gotten a chance to pick up this blanket yet this year in 2023. It's still January, so I think it'll be okay, but yeah, that's where I'm at on this. The yarn that I'm using for this blanket, Stephen West does have, I think he co-owns, if I'm not mistaken, he co-owns a yarn shop over in Amsterdam with a friend of his called Stephen and Penelope, and he does sell yarn kits for the Slipstravaganza blanket on the website. So you can purchase kits over there on the website for this blanket, but unfortunately that yarn was just a little bit out of my price range. I couldn't really afford to buy the kit on Stephen and Penelope, excuse me, because it is kind of pricey. So what I did was I looked at all the color palettes that he had, or his team had put together on their website for the blanket, and I went with a monochromatic, just kind of grays and black for my blanket, just because I thought it would really kind of go with everything. So that's the colors that I'm using. I took that color palette and I went to yarn.com, or Webs, the America's Yarn Store as they're known, and I purchased the same colors just in a cheaper yarn. The yarn is DK weight. It is a yarn by Valley Yarns, which is yarn.com's, it's their company yarn, so it's not expensive. It's quite cheap. And like I said, it's a DK weight. Valley Yarns, there's only 4 colors total. So there's 4 colors total. So there's 3 contrast colors and a main color. For me, my main color is the black, and then my contrast colors are the 3 different grays. So I've got silver, a gray, and a dark gray. Those are my contrast colors. But the beauty of this blanket is it could be kind of a scrappy project too. So if you don't want to, if you want to use a different skein, some of your scrap yarn, an DK weight that you might have, you can do that too. So feel free to do whatever you like with this blanket. But for me, I just wanted to stick to the monochromatic color scheme. So I'm not worried about running out of yarn for this project, and like I said, the skeins are from Valley Yarn is really inexpensive, so if I need to get additional yarn for this project, which I don't think I'll need to, but if I need to get additional yarn, it'll be very easy for me to just go ahead and purchase that. It's not expensive at all. So yeah, but this is where I'm at on my Slipstravaganza blanket. It's getting really heavy and really large. I think I mentioned this last time, but once I do pick it up, right now it's on 2 60-inch length size 6 needles. Right now it's on 2 of them. So it's getting really big, and I'm using a 3rd needle to knit on the project. And so whenever I do sit down to knit on this blanket, I actually have to lay it over my lap in order to just be comfortable. Otherwise it just sits in a ball on my lap, and it's just kind of uncomfortable. But when I have to lay it over my legs and my lap and everything, it's a blanket, so it gets quite warm. So I didn't pick it up last summer at all, and I haven't yet gotten a chance to pick it up this winter, but it is cold enough still outside where I can knit on this blanket at night and be comfortable knitting on it. Otherwise it'll just be too hot. So I'm hoping to pick up this blanket here pretty soon so that I can get a little bit more progress done on it before summer rolls around, because it'll get pretty hot in the summer and I won't want to knit on it with it laying on my lap. So, but anyway, it is getting quite large here, and I have it in a really big knit bag, or it's actually just a tote bag. But I got this huge, let me just show it to you. I got this huge tote bag. Huge tote bag. I got it at a yarn shop tour. So I live here in Washington State, the Pacific Northwest, and last year me and my mom attended the Puget Sound local yarn shop tour. So we got to go to different yarn shops around Washington State. We went up north and then we went a little bit south and everything. So we got to visit a bunch of different shops and found a bunch of new shops that we hadn't been to before and we really liked. I do have a video on that if you want to go ahead and check that out. That is on my channel, the Puget Sound local yarn shop tour, so you can see all the different yarn shops we went to. But they gave us these huge bags when we went to that yarn shop tour, and it's massive. It's a massive, massive tote bag. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect. I can just keep my blanket in here, and it's enough room to keep my blanket. So if that tells you how big it is, there it is. But yeah, I just have it in this huge thing. I really like it though. All right, and then the third and final works in progress that I have to share with you today. I can't share with you too much of this project, but I can show you my progress on it so far. The reason I can't share too much of this project with you is because it is a test knit. So I applied to be a test knitter again. So I'm a test knitter for a designer team that I actually really, really love. So I'm very excited that I get to test knit this thing for you. But I'm making a hat. It's called the Deep Winter Hat. This is designed by Woolen Pine Designs. Woolen Pine Designs, check them out over on Instagram. If you have Instagram, I think I don't have Facebook, so I don't know if they're on Facebook or anything, but check them out over on Instagram and Ravelry. They have beautiful, beautiful garment designs. They have a lot of garments, a lot of sweaters, cardigans, and a few accessories like hats and scarves and cowls and things like that. And I really love their designs. They're just beautiful. And anytime I've purchased a pattern from them, all of the patterns are beautifully written as well. So I'm very excited to be taking part in a test knit for Woolen Pine Designs. I'm so excited about it. But again, this test knit is called the Deep Winter Hat. I believe this hat is going to be available, I want to say at the beginning of February. So I want to say February 1st is when this design is going to be available to purchase. I hope you look forward to that. That's going to be fun. But this design rather is really, really nice. Again, it's called Deep Winter Hat. It is just a one skein project. So all you need is one skein of DK weight yarn and you can make this hat. Let me go ahead and show you. I can't show you a picture of what the finished object will be, but I can show you my progress on it. So this so far is my Deep Winter Hat. This is a hat that is obviously knit in the round, as you can see, and it started at the cuff, which is the part right here. So it started at the cuff and then it goes top and then it ends at the top. So you knit all the way up and then you just kind of cinch it in at the top, do some decreases, and that's your hat. But it's a beautiful design. It is, I think Woolen Pine Designs actually just came out with a cardigan called the Deep Winter Cardigan. So you can see, so you can look at that and kind of get an idea of what this hat might look like. But it's a beautiful hat that starts at the cuff and it's got this beautiful ribbing, not ribbing, I'm sorry. It's got this beautiful cable pattern. It's a cable pattern that goes through the whole length of the hat. So you can't really see the cable design yet here on mine because I'm not that far And I also am knitting it in this beautiful deep green, so you can't really see it too well. I think once I get a little bit further down the chart with this hat, you'll be able to see it more. But like I said, I just started this a few days ago, so it's not very far in yet. But it is a quick knit, so it's not going to take me that long. But yeah, this is the deep winter hat. I really like it so far. The yarn that I'm using for this hat, as you can see, is a beautiful deep green. I'm not sure if that's showing up right, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous color. This is a color by, oh gosh, this is a yarn by Sugar Plum Circus. So another Sugar Plum Circus yarn. I love Sugar Plum Circus yarn. But this is her DK weight yarn, and this is a color, I don't know if she has this color anymore actually, since I checked on her website and I don't see it, but it's called Elphaba. So Elphaba is, I think it's the Wicked Witch of the West in the musical Wicked, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if that's wrong. But that's the name of the Wicked Witch of the West, so green, and that's the color of this skein. It's just a beautiful, but it's more of a deep green. It's my favorite color, but it's really, really nice. Also, it's really soft. Her DK weight yarn is really, really soft. I had the little thing for the yarn, and I can't remember where it is, but I want to say it's like merino nylon is the base of this yarn. Anyway, it's really nice, really soft. Very easy to knit with, and it is hand dyed, but it doesn't look to be too variegated. It doesn't look to be variegated at all. It's just got some lighter pieces of the same green next to the darker green. So you can tell it's a hand dyed yarn, but it still looks really nice. So yeah, so that's my deep winter hat. Like I said, as you can see, I haven't gotten too far with it yet, but I did just start this a few days ago. So it's going, but it's cable, so it's going a little bit slower as well, but it won't take me too long to finish it. But yeah, that's my third works in progress. That's what I'm currently working on, trying to get that finished before the test date is over. So yeah, that is my third works in progress that I had to share with you. All right, the next thing I want to share with you is a new acquisition. So I have one new acquisition. I got this actually a few weeks ago, but I wanted to share it with you. So if you've watched some of my other videos in the past, you'll see that I was actually making 2 blankets. So I'm currently working on my Slipstravaganza blanket, as I showed you. That's going to take me a little while, but I was also working on another blanket called the Persian Tiles Crochet Throw by Janie Crow. And that blanket is just a simple lap size blanket, so it's only 46.5 inches by 46.5 inches. It's just a big square, but it's only lap blanket size, so it's not as big as the Slipstravaganza blanket, and it is done in crochet. So this is, I was making that blanket. I did actually finish that blanket. I don't know where it is to show you, so I'm sorry about that. Once I find it, I will show it to you. I'll show you the finished project, but I did finish that blanket, and I purchased another kit for another version of that same blanket, so I wanted to show you that. So here's the kit that I got. I got it again from a company called Mary Maxim. They are just a craft store here in the United States. I'm not sure if they have it in other countries, but Mary Maxim is who I purchased it from, and they have several different color palettes of this blanket, and so I actually got this one here. So here's the Persian Tiles Crochet Blanket. This is not the color palette that I got. This is a different color palette that they have. It's more of like a rosy and pink colors. The color palette that I got, I will insert a picture so you can see it in the description box. But the color palette that I got is a little bit more Christmassy kind of feel. It's got that like deep garnet red there, and those 2 different color greens and some yellow and stuff like that. So it looks a little bit more Christmassy. It's got a more Christmas vibe to it, I would say. But I liked the color palette that I got. So I'll share with you a picture of what the color palette that I got, what it looks like. But I haven't started it yet. Like I said, I just received my kit a few weeks ago from Mary Maxim. I ordered from them. I just received the kit a few weeks ago, and I'm gonna get started on this one here pretty soon. But I just wanted to show you that new acquisition because I'm very excited to have 2 Persian tile crochet blankets because it is a really nice little lap blanket that you can just lay over you if you get cold, or I don't know. I like it. So that is my Persian tiles crochet throw, and that is going to be my second one. So I'm going to have 2. So that's my new acquisition. I just wanted to share that with you. The other thing that I wanted to show you is future plans. So I know that in the beginning of the year, a lot of the knitters here over on YouTube and over on Instagram actually shared with everybody what their future plans are for 2023. And I just wanted to go over what my plans are for 2023. So I have a few things that I want to do. So this past year of 2022, I was working on a lot of new things in terms of test knitting. So I started test knitting in 2022 more vigorously. I applied to be a test knitter for several different designers, and I got to test knit several different things. And I really, really enjoy it. I really like testing, but I think for 2023, what I'm actually going to do is focus a little bit more on the things that I want to make, and the things that not that I didn't want to make the test knits that I did, which I did want to make them, which is why I applied to be a test knitter in the first place. But I guess what I'm saying is I have certain projects that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and I haven't started them yet because I've been getting distracted by test knitting. So I guess my goal for 2023 is to work on the projects that I already know that I want to make, the projects that have been in my wish list for a while, the projects that I already have purchased yarn for and haven't started. So that is my goal for 2023. I just want to start as many projects that I know I want to make as I can. And when I was looking at my stash at the beginning of the year, I did a little bit of reorganizing. And when I was looking at my stash of yarn, I realized that every single skein of yarn that I have, not every single skein, but most of the skeins of yarn that I have, I already have projects in mind for those skeins. And what I tend to do when I purchase yarn is I tend to find a project that I know I want to make, and I will purchase yarn specifically for that project. So there's a lot of projects that I have, or a lot of yarn that I have, that I already know what I want to do with it, but I haven't started those projects. So, but I have the yarn, but I haven't started the project. So I have a lot of those, and I do have 2 projects that I want to share with you today that are going to be projects where I'm hoping to start knitting these things. What I want to do is start knitting through the yarn that I currently have for the projects that I know I want to make. So I want to show you 2 of those today because I found these 2 and I was like, I should just start those. I know I haven't started it yet, but I will start those. So I have 2 of those to show you today. The first one is really, really small. I wanted to show you this. So I have this skein of yarn. When I caked it up, it got a snag in it and caked up a little bit weird. So it looks kind of funky. But I have this skein of yarn here. This is Malabrigo yarn. I can't remember exactly what this colorway is. If I can think of it, I will put it in the description box down below so you can see. But it is their DK weight Malabrigo yarn. And it's a really beautiful pinky kind of color. It's got pink, peach, purple, yellow. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And it's a DK weight, like I said. And what I plan to do with this skein of yarn is I want to make the Sophie shawl. So the Sophie shawl is a design by Petite Knits. I will insert a picture so you guys can see what that looks like. But it's a really cute, simple design. It is a smaller little scarf. It's not very big at all. She does have a shawl version as well, but I like the scarf, so I want to knit the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit for this small little DK skein. I just have one skein of this, so I'm hoping to do the Sophie shawl, or Sophie scarf rather, not shawl, Sophie scarf with this DK weight skein. So that's what I plan to do for that. Then the other design that I want to show you, or the other yarn that I want to show you, is this yarn. So yarn that I purchased a little while back. I purchased yarn from a company called Önling. I don't know if anybody has heard, any of you out there have heard of Önling before, but they have some beautiful yarn. Let me show you how it's spelled. So Önling is that. I believe it's a Danish or Swedish company. I'm not sure. I want to say Danish, but yeah. So Önling is a company I purchased from them online, and they have some really beautiful yarn. A lot of their yarn is like sustainably sourced, which I think is really important and really, really cool. So I purchased yarn from them for the first time last year. Let me show you what I got. So I got this beautiful yarn here. I haven't even opened it up yet, so that's crazy. But this is the yarn that I purchased from Önling. So I got this beautiful deep garnet, sort of red burgundy color here. I got this yarn is called number 11. It is the superfine merino wool and cashmere yarn. It is a fingering weight, I believe. I believe it's like fingering / like light DK weight yarn. So that's the yarn that I got. It did say DK when I purchased it, but I think it's like a light DK. So it can double as fingering weight yarn if that's what you need it for. But yeah, so this is the yarn that I got. Like I said, this is the number 11 merino wool and cashmere blend. It is 90% superfine merino wool and 10% selected cashmere, which means it's like a sustainably sourced cashmere, which is really cool. And it's in this beautiful deep red color. I've got several skeins of that yarn. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 skeins. I've got 8 skeins of that beautiful yarn, and I did have a project in mind for this yarn already. This is my Outlander knitting book. I love Outlander. If you don't know, I'm a huge Outlander fan. It's my favorite show. I love the books too, but I adore the show. It's so good. But I purchased this Outlander knitting book a little while ago, and there's several different projects in this book that I want to make, but one of the projects that I've decided on making for sure, and which is the reason why I purchased this yarn, is to make this cardigan. So there's a cardigan in this book called the I Found Him Lace Cardigan. Here's the book. I'll insert a better picture so you guys can see better what the cardigan looks like. But this is the I Found Him Lace Cardigan, and it's just a gorgeous little cardigan that is designed from one of the cardigans that the main character, Claire is her name, the main character wears in one of the episodes of Outlander. So she wears this beautiful burgundy cardigan that has a little bit of lace in it, and the lace cardigan, and I love it so much. So I really want to make this cardigan from this book rather, and I already purchased the yarn for it. So I'm gonna start the I Found Him cardigan just as soon, I actually might start the I Found Him cardigan as soon as I finish this hat. So once I finish my deep winter hat test knit, which like I said, I think is going to come out at the beginning of February. So once I finish my deep winter hat, which will be pretty soon, I think I'm going to go ahead and cast on and start the I Found Him lace cardigan. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited to use this beautiful deep burgundy red from Önling. So I will let you know how that yarn works up, because I'm just super excited to use it, because it looks so beautiful, and it's ethically sourced and all kinds of good things with that yarn. So I'll put the information for that yarn and the pattern for both of those, the I Found Him lace cardigan and the Sophie shawl. I'll put the information for both of those projects down in the description box down below, so you can check that out if you'd like to. That's really it, you guys. That's it. That's all I have for you today. I don't have a whole lot, as you can see, so hopefully this won't be too long of a video. But it's great to be back with another podcast for the beginning of the year. I think this is my first podcast this year, so that's fun. That's a wrap for today. I'm going to go ahead and keep going with the projects that I currently have. I'm going to try to finish my hat, and I'm going to try to finish the Aurora cabin shawl as soon as I can. But I'm not knitting fast either. I'm knitting a little bit slow these days. So yeah, that's it. But that's all I have to show you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't have any book or TV recommendations today. Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of new things that I've been watching on TV, and there hasn't been a lot of new books that I've purchased. I actually haven't started reading any of the books that I purchased the last time. So yeah, I've just been kind of busy with other things. I've had my mind on other things, so I haven't been really watching or reading too much. So I don't have a lot to share with you today. But definitely next time I will have more. I hope there's more TV shows coming out. I've just been watching movies. I've just been re-watching movies, so not a lot to share there. But there's going to be more that's coming out this year. I hope to see you guys on this channel a little bit more. I'm so excited. I've got a new idea for this channel, and I'm really excited to get that going. So you'll see that pretty soon here, hopefully in the next few weeks. So I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for being on my channel. Happy knitting, everybody. Bye.